Welcome back to Artificial Neural Networks virtual class. We have just completed the second module and today we are going to start a new module. So in this video lecture, you will have an introduction to the module 3 and in that we'll start with learning from examples and generalization. We were discussing supervised learning from the last module and we are going to continue discussing supervised learning even in this module. But there is a difference. In the last module, we understood supervised learning from the deterministic point of view, whereas in this module, we will understand the supervised learning from the probabilistic point of view. Therefore, we need to understand some basics of statistical learning theory. So that is what we are going to start initially. You will have some lot of equations with respect to probability density functions, but don't worry, it won't be that difficult, and most of the equations are very similar with your equations what you have learnt in digital communications. Now later we'll move to support vector machine SVM, one of the very important topic from the point of machine learning. So this is very important for you to understand, and later we are going to use its application for image classification. So you are going to classify some images using the concept of SVM. Later at the end of this module, you are going to learn radial basis function and its application for face recognition. We all are using smartphones and we do use face recognition in that. There are many ways to do face recognition and one of the way is using radial basis function. And you are going to learn how to do that. So this is going to be an interesting module with lot of practical applications to understand, whereas we have to understand first mathematically and then use them to implement practical applications by coding them in any of the programming language. I hope this is exciting for you to understand this module. So let's start with the first subtopic in this. So first we will be recalling supervised learning and generalization. This we have already discussed in the last module, so please go back and recall once. Supervised learning means learning from examples. We need to have a labeled data. That means for every input we should know what will be the output. If we have that kind of labeled data, only then neural network will be able to learn looking at those examples or the inputs and try to get the output. This is very similar to way we learn in day-to-day life. Humans learn from examples and experience. This is both natural and effortless for them. If you observe, we always look at examples and try to learn from that. And this comes very natural to us. And from artificial neural network point of view, we are trying to understand this mechanism, which is so natural for us. Only if we understand this process, then we can develop software and hardware which is required to make an artificial intelligent system that can mimic human learning by looking at examples from the real world data. So using supervised learning, we are trying to learn that. What is learning from example mean from a neural network point of view? It essentially means we need to approximate the function or classify the data set from a sparse and noisy data in what we have. This is represented by equation. The training set will be consisting of input xk and desired output dk for k varying from 1 to q, where input xk belongs to some n-dimensional real space and desired output dk belongs to one-dimensional real space. And this equation is very familiar to you, and we are discussing this extensively in the last module. Here, training means searching for a relationship that underlies the data in such a way that the machine can be used to predict outputs based on unseen inputs. That is what is represented in this equation. Y predicted will be equal to a function of x unseen. That means the network should be able to take the unseen input. The function f is nothing but your neural network training, and that function should be able to map that unseen data to the to predicted output. This is another way of stating that we require machines that can generalize, that can successfully generalize. Only if it can predict for unseen data, we call the network has been successfully generalized. As you know, in supervised learning, we usually split the data into training, validation, and testing. So we stop the training when we reduce the mean square error to considerably or sufficiently low level. And then we test the training on some unseen inputs, and if we get considerable accuracy, only then we tell the network has learned and it can generalize to unseen patterns in the future. Note that reduction of mean square error on the training set to very low level doesn't guarantee good generalization. That means even though you stop the network training when you reach the minimum mean square error, still it does not guarantee good generalization. That means it may not perform very well for the unseen data set in the future. Let's see an example to understand generalization better by taking an analogy of you learning this ANN subject. So if you study this ANN subject only from the university exam point of view, you may reduce your mistakes in the exam and you can score really good marks in the exam. So reducing your mistakes in the exam is similar to minimizing the error. And when you test, when you write the exam and you score very good marks, that is training and testing on what is your objective. That is, you have to do very well in the exam point of view. This is really good. But however, when you are tested for understanding of the subject in the industry or in the interview of a company, this is unseen input. Now, if you need to perform with considerably well, only then your learning of the subject is good. That means you have to learn the subject from the exam point of view. Also, you need to train yourself and test yourself from the industry point of view. Only then the generalization is complete. Otherwise, the generalization will not be there. I hope this is clear. The problem of approximating a function involves fitting the set of weights of the neural network to the given training data. So, learning means changing the weights so that it can train on the data. A network with too many weights, that means if we have more hidden nodes, we will be able to fit the training data very accurately and will generalize poorly to unseen data. That means by using more hidden nodes, even though we'll get very good training output, but we will not be able to generalize properly and we'll perform very bad or very poorly with the unseen data. This problem is called overfitting problem, and this is the most common problem which we come across in neural networks or machine learning or even deep neural networks. The example given below in the figure shows an overfitting problem. If there are 15 points which consist of noisy data, and if you use a 7 hidden node feed forward neural network to train on these 15 noisy patterns that describe the deterministic univariate function shown in the dashed lines. So what is the idea of learning? So we need to approximate or fit the function that can map these 15 points. But if you use more hidden nodes, that is in this problem 7 hidden nodes, then it will overfit the data points. That means you can see instead of getting the actual function which is shown in the continuous line, we get a dashed line. Here the network learns each data point very accurately, but its function develops high curvature that makes it look different from the true function, and that you can see in the figure. The dashed line is different from the continuous line. On the other hand, a network with too few weights will also give poor generalization, as it will be unable to approximate even the training data. That means if we use less number of hidden nodes or less number of weights, it will not be able to approximate even the training data. That means it will not even perform well in the training. Whereas if we use more hidden nodes or more set of weights, it will perform very well in the training, whereas it will perform poorly on the unseen data in the future. So it is a very tricky situation to choose what is the optimal number of hidden nodes or optimal number of weights that can perform considerably well in the training as well as generalize successfully so that it can give a good output for unseen input in the future. The broad objective of the learning is not to fit the model to the training data so accurately that it fails to generalize on unseen data. Rather, what we wish is to model the generator function as closely as possible so that the network becomes capable of good generalization. So this can be stated what we want from the learning in supervised learning. If we continue with the analogy of the example what we considered you studying this in subject, and if you want to conclude that example, if you score very good marks, that is 100 out of 100 in ANN exam, but could not answer the questions in the interview or don't know how to apply the concept to solve real problems in the industry, then it will be the case of overfitting problem. That means in the university exam you did really well. That means on training you were perfect. Whereas when it came to the unseen data, you did not perform well. This is overfitting problem. Ideally, what do we want? What is good generalization? Good generalization, or the objective of good learning, is you do reasonably well in the exam, university exam, that is training. You are doing very well, let's say distinction, or you are scoring marks at around 70, 80, or 90, which is good. Then you apply your knowledge to solve real-time problems of machine learning. This is unseen data that will help you to get placed in the industry. So this means you will do well in training as well as you will do reasonably well in the unseen data. This will help you to learn the subject properly, and this is ideally what we want to learn from any subject. This process is called learning and generalization. In the next class, we'll understand generalization from the mathematical point of view by considering Bayes' dilemma or Bayes variance dilemma. Thank you for watching.